person in the CDF committee representing them, and we shall be allocating some of the money meant for all our infrastructures to elevate them and get them into some business sort of, if we are able to get them in groups. Most of them come from the low income buildings accessible for them, make some of the funds accessible for them so that they can start their small businesses and keep them going. I'm sure that they will be well represented in my leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Felix.
The next question goes to you, Samuel. And the question is, open spaces meant for residents' recreation are under threat of development from other than the purpose that they were intended for. So the question is, what are your plans to, one, preserve open green spaces, and two, reclaim misappropriated, grabbed green spaces?
It's not only in Langata. Me personally, I've been a victim of land grabbers. I have this. The Langata residents, once they give me the opportunity to lead them, that will be my first engagement in Langata, in the Langata constituency, and that is what I promise. And that's a deal with the Langata residents. Thank you very much.
Samuel, can I ask specifically, what plan do you have? We're grateful for the commitment to reclaim grab land, but what specific plans, what exactly do you plan to do to actualize what you're promising?
Yeah, there are two areas, because we also have the legal processes that the land grabbers use to frustrate a process to reclaim the land. And my procedure will be, first, I will engage with the relevant authorities that are within Langata, identify the lands that have been taken over, and then make sure that the land goes back to the purpose of the Langata residents. Two, there are some lands that have been, they are public lands that can be used by the Langata residents, say for industrial development, because my main agenda is making sure that our people are empowered economically. That's how I'm going to use the lands that are available. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. I'd like to direct my first question to Felix. What do you understand the role of the member of the National Assembly to be, and what are your top two priorities for Langata, and how will you work with the county government in those top two priorities? So it's a...
Definitely the roles of a member of parliament, legislation, representation, and oversight. But let's add another one, lobbying. That is one thing I think I'm so much big in. Definitely, we want, if you told me the top two, I would say representation. I want to represent Langata and make Langata work for itself. I hope even the panel themselves, you've walked around Langata recently in the different places, not just where you live, to see the lives how our people are living. Most of the youths who are heavily jobless, and all of us know how Langata is blessed. Langata is the home of almost so many government institutions. We are starting from NEMA is in Langata. We have Kenya Literature Bureau is in Langata. Kenya National Oil is in Langata.
Sorry, Felix, your time might run out. What are your top two priorities? Thank you for explaining the role, but I'll ask again, what are your top two priorities, and how will you implement them, and how will you engage with the county as you do so?
I wish you could have just let me go on. I'd already planned it to be in the same time, so my time would have not run out. Definitely representation and lobbying. That one is what I was telling you. I want to represent Langata and work with the people, with my MCAs in the county to make sure that every single fund that is allocated for Langata gets into Langata and is used for the specific duty. Representation will be big, and I want to work closely with my MCAs to make sure that we are well represented in the counties, that the county services get to Langata as we work together with the MCAs. So representation and lobbying. I also want to do a lot of lobbying with a few partners that I've been working with in my previous field. I have a lot of partners out there so that they can come in.
Thank you, Felix.
In engaging with Langata people. Thank you.
Thank you. Time is up.
Thank you, Felix. I'd like to ask Samuel. Thank you for sharing your plans with us. As a member of parliament, because you've touched on the issue of employment, yes, what do you feel your contribution can be as a member of parliament to deal with the unemployment issue in Langata?
Okay, as I mentioned earlier, I believe in solutions. As a member of parliament, there are two areas I would like to dwell in. Item number one, the reason why we are economically impoverished. We have institutions in Kenya and established by the government that frustrate development, which must be dealt with in legislation. I'll give you a practical example of KEBS, Kenya Bureau of Standards. In other countries, the Kenya Bureau of Standards, the purpose of the standards is to evaluate the quality of production of any industry, whether it's a new industry or an upcoming industry. Then if it fails, if the industry is not giving quality, they assign a technical committee to make sure that the products of that industry are up to the standards required.
Samuel, I'll ask you also to be more pointed.
Yes.
What are your specific plans for creating employment in Langata?
Okay.
And how many jobs will that plan deliver for
Good.
the residents?
Thank you very much. Will you add me some few minutes, because it might...
Chair?
Some of the things cannot be so brief. Chair?
Okay, just go on. Just go on.
Just 1 minute. Thank you very much. I'll give you the CDF, for instance. CDF means Constituency Development Fund. It is not Constituency Development Fund purposely for building toilets or specifically for bursaries. It can be utilized by a member of parliament to create employment to the people of Langata. I'll give a small example which I have in mind. This drinking water. A plant that can employ 5,000 people can only cost us 15 million shillings, and it can employ 5,000 people from Langata. It will also create employment for other people. For instance, people employed, they'll have maids, they'll have other people, they'll employ people in their own homes. That's just one example because of time.
Thank you, Samuel. You didn't quite explain as a member of parliament how you will bring that to be, because I also wanted to, I think it's good for us to understand what is your role. Are you a business developer? Are you pulling, what is your role? Maybe, Chair, can we get just 30 seconds so he can explain as a member of parliament, yes, how will you bring that money to be?
Yeah, okay. I wanted to explain, you cut me short when I was explaining the CAPS and those other things. Sorry. As a member of parliament, there is a fund that is allocated, and I mentioned it's CDF, Constituency Development Funds. A member of parliament has influence on determining some of the projects that can be done in a constituency. So that is how I'm going to influence the creation of employment in Langata.
Thank you, Samuel.
Thank you, Samuel. I'd like to invite Cliff just to clarify. You explained how you will appoint your CDF committee. I'd like to just revisit that issue. Who, in the CDF structure, which are the important committees, and how many households do you know Langata to have? So that how practical is your plan to visit each and every household to establish those structures? So maybe just give us a practical explanation of how you intend to set up the committees that will manage the CDF funds so that they can be accountable. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that opportunity. When I say that we will pick a person, one person from each household, I mean exactly that. The reason being, we have had cartels blocking the issuance of these particular positions in the CDF committees. So we have a few people controlling what happens in the CDF office. So when I say that we are going to pick one person from each household, I mean we know which households. We have the statistics. We have the census which was done, so we have the statistics of the number of households. So we are talking about like we have above 1,000 or so households, all right? Like 30-something thousand households, right? So what do? We have these households coming in and bringing people on board. One person, and that person is a person who is not employed, is a person who doesn't have a job in that particular homestead. So when we bring them, we distribute, or we actually do what? Split them into groups. So we have like 100 from, let's say, Mugumoini, we have 100 homesteads. We have South Sea, we have Nairobi West, etc. So what we do, we have meetings in each ward with that particular number. That is a committee. Then they will elect. It will be an elective position. Into the positions of finance. For instance, in the CDF, we have the finance committee. We can do that. We have the allocation committee that is allocating various for various projects or something. And then now we split those committees into those particular positions. Yes.
Thank you.
That's okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Cliff. And maybe the last question that I'll ask is to Susan. And my question to you is, in your understanding, what's your biggest contribution as a member of parliament, and what are your 2 top priorities for Langata? So what's your understanding of the role of the member of parliament? What is your largest contribution as that member of parliament? And what are your 2 top priorities for Langata?
Thank you for that question. The roles of an MP, of a member of parliament, are to represent, that is representation, to conduct oversight, that is to watch over the resources that belong to the people, representation, oversight, and what else? And legislation, that is coming up with solutions, presenting them to parliament, not only on behalf of the constituency that the person is representing, but also other things pertaining to the nation at large. So those are the roles of an MP. Then my contribution as a member of parliament, when elected, I am able to come up with solutions to pass bills, to come up with a bill, take it to parliament, and with the backup of my fellow members of parliament who will concur with whatever bill that I'll have that shall be bringing solutions to the people, I am able to bring change, not only to my constituency, but to the country at large. So that is one of the contributions that as a member of parliament, I believe I'm able to bring on board. What was the other question, please? My top 2 priorities are inclusion. Apart from the roles that I am supposed to play when elected as a member of parliament, the roles of legislation, the role of oversight, and the role of representation, I am of the opinion that we need inclusion. For example, you've asked here the question on people living with disabilities. What is it that these people want for them to feel included? We have a new society that has cropped up of single parents. I intend to bring on board people of the opinion that. Sorry, the question.
Past 3 months.
Yes.
What will you do as a member of parliament for the issue of inclusion?
For the first 3 months, when elected, I'm able to gather the various groups that form Langata. We have the elderly, we have the youths, we have the women, we have the people living with disabilities. So I am able to visit these groups. I've already visited most of them and bring them on board, pick representatives that are able to come and represent the rest of the people, come up with solutions to the various groups that we have in Langata.
Cliff, I'm going to ask a question that was asked earlier to Samuel about open spaces that are meant for residents. We have open spaces meant for residents, recreation.
Sorry. It's for Cliff.
It's for Cliff. Cliff. The question is for Cliff.
The question is for Cliff.
Oh, for. Thank you for representing.
For Samuel. Cliff, let me start again. There are open spaces meant for residents, recreation, which are under threat of development for uses other than the purpose that they were intended for. So what are your plans to, 1, preserve these open green spaces, and number 2, to reclaim misappropriated or grabbed green spaces?
Okay, yeah, land grabbing, very thorny issue in the land. 1, there is litigation. So we will have to litigate much of this because we will end up finding facts from the Ministry of Lands, getting to know the true picture of whose land this is. If it is public land, then we litigate. We take it to court and make sure that we get a proper hearing and get the land back, get the lands back. Another way that we can actually handle this is through legislation in Parliament. What we will have to do is look at the Land Act and then make sure that we have a bill that protects this particular land, this particular public lands. And that will mean that it will be a solution that is for the future. It is not a solution that is temporal. So once we have an act in Parliament that prohibits such particular people coming in and grabbing such lands with impunity, for instance, the one that is in South Sea that was almost grabbed, we are talking about a permanent solution. So if we can go back to Parliament and make sure that we have a legislation that actually stops this, then that is another way we can do it. Another way that, a third and final way that we will do this is by having activists coming on board and making sure that they are the watchdogs of these particular lands, such that we have everything that belongs to us brought back to us as Langatarians.
So are you saying that there's no legislation as of now that protects public land?
There is the Lands Act, which is very clear that we have our land. This is public land. It has not been gazetted to be private, or it has not been gazetted to be sold. But then it is not being implemented. So we are saying we are going to revisit that Land Act and then see the loopholes that are there. Bring up a bill that closes these loopholes in the Lands Act, and then make sure that we don't have a loophole. This is something that is permanent. It is not something that is temporal. If it comes from Parliament and it is an act, then it means that this is something that is permanent, that is going to be permanent, and that is going to be good for our people. There is a law for that. There is a law prohibiting grabbing, but don't we see all this? What they do is they take advantage of the loopholes in these particular laws, and that is what we are going to relook at. That is the first thing that we can do, we are going to do when it comes to open spaces. Thank you.
Thank you, Cliff.
Susan, hi. Please come up to the mic. Yes, Susan. Okay. So, this question is for you. It is, what provision will you make in the next fiscal budget for people with disabilities? What provision will you make in the next fiscal budget for people with disability?
Thank you so much for that question. I have met a few groups or a few people who happen to be people living with disabilities, and I asked them, what is it that you feel has not been addressed concerning you as individuals in Langata? And one of the things that I came up with is that they feel left out, so they need someone, or at least a few of them, to represent them on the table when legislation or when discussions concerning Langata constituency are being discussed. They are not there. Nobody's there to represent them. So number one, what they require from me is to feel included. That is one thing that I'm going to ensure, Rov. Number two, the people living with disabilities, they require a facility. Here in Langata, we happen not to have any facility. And the people living with disability doesn't have only to be the people who are elderly or middle-aged. It includes even the children. For those of you who are here, I believe you know there are children who have autism, for instance, and in my manifesto, I have stated that we are able to come up with a center, a rehabilitation center for the people living with disabilities, whereby the children who, let's say, have autism are able to be taken to such a facility to get therapy. And for your information, they are able to be recuperated and even join normal school, so they are able to become better people and be dependent by themselves. There are people who have become disabled because of accidents and all that. When you go to Kenyatta, they require you to have 1,000 shillings for a session of therapy. Why can't we have our own rehabilitation center here to cater for that? So that is another thing. That is the third thing
Thank
they
you.
have requested of me.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Thank you very much, the candidates, for those responses. Now we go to the real hard work. Now, the next session, we are going to the plenary, which is now the residents' questions. And that will be, I'll hand over back to Gerald to handle this one. Thank you.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Yes, we are on. Very good. I know we have sat a bit long, so can we just give this the only part you get to clap for first, the candidates. You can clap for them. Then secondary, for the wonderful team that is asking the questions. You can give them a clap. And now, candidates, could you kindly clap for the audience that has been listening to you? Very good. We want to take questions from you who are here. And these questions have been divided in the following manner, but we recognize that we may not all be here. But that's a privilege and an advantage for you who are here. So the first question, we would want somebody who is youth. And when we define youth, it's the age of 18 to 35. Na mimi niko na macho makari, naweza kakuangalia hivi na nijue, wewe ni miaka ngapi? Kama wewe mwenzangu. You are now at the age of, nitakuambia So, youth, 18 to 35. Women, the women who will be asking the question will not be in the category of the 18 to 35 if there was a lady who asked. Men, you will not be in the category of the 18 to 35. Elders, you will be above 35. You will be above 60. Those are elders. And then people living with disability or the PLWD. Among us, there could be business people. We'll give you an opportunity. And then if you belong to any other faith, Christian, Muslim, Hindu, or any other, we shall be able to give you the opportunity. The Constitution does not discriminate, okay? So the beauty is if we do not have that category, we will give the category that is most represented here the opportunity. So a very quick survey. Between ages of 18 and 35, please lift your hands if you are there. Quick survey. Thank you. Between 35 and 40. Quick survey. Thank you for representing. Between 40 and 50, a quick survey. Thank you. Yes. So we are very well represented. Above 55, upwards to 60. Anybody? So we have no elders. Yeah, there is somebody? There is an elder. Yes. Excellent. We will start with you, sir. Is it sir or madam? Sorry. Yes? Can you stand? We will start with you. Thank you. So we'll give you an opportunity to ask a question. Okay? Microphone, we have? Oh, there is one. Please identify yourself, your name, where you come from, the ward, and also which residential area. All right? Then you take the questions now. Now you must really take the questions.
I was just trying to rephrase my question about Langata. Yes, I'm aged, but most of the things which we hear are Band-Aid. You know the Band-Aid you put for emergency? Yes. Development in Langata. And long-term development, nobody thinks about it. And if we just concentrate on the immediate and not look further, the place will not look as it should be. So I would like to find out whether these representatives have considered develop future of Langata as well as current problems which we have presented. We are, the same area, we are increasing the number of population that is living there. And as we increase the population, we will have a problem. We already have that problem of grabbed land. Our kids have nowhere to go, have nowhere to play, have nowhere to be formed as a team. So I'm wondering whether you have those two ideas: current problems and future development.
Please identify where you come from, which ward, and your name, madam.
My name is Bernadette Theuri. I have been in Langata since 1972.
Yes.
In Gay Phase 1.
Gay Phase
1.
That is Mugumoine. Thank you very much. So the questions are being taken. So that is the age of 60 and above. They have seen it all. So if you lie to us, they will be able to tell us we are lying, isn't it? Because they have seen it all. Next, there was age between 45 and 50. Any question? Any question from that age category? They fit into now moving into the eldership. I saw hands go up. It means we go to the next age category. All right? I will be ending with the youth because I can see there are many. All right? Let's give this to a lady who is compelled to ask about the state of Langata. And you're not in the youth. The youth, I'm coming. I can tell that is where we'll spend our time. Question? Question? Langata is doing well. Langata must be doing very well. Okay, men. I can see today for the first time, men have outnumbered ladies. For the first time. Yes? Question. Thank you, sir. Microphone here.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I want to congratulate all the aspirants who have taken their time to come to this forum. And we are saying these are our preferred candidates. I'm a resident of Karen. I started living in Karen in the year 2005. It means I have 17 years old here. I was living pale Mabatini karibu na Jaikwat, but because ilibomolewa, I had to migrate to the other side of Gataka because I could not manage rent in Karen. I have a question one on the issue of land grabbing, because I've seen that is what is happening in Karen in most of the area. Most of the lands have been grabbed, and this land are being grabbed by people who have very much powers in the government. I want our aspirants to tell us, how are they going to manage these people? Because these are people who have a lot of influence. Even recently, we have a case the other side of Manyata, where a certain land is being grabbed for those people who are living there. My last question is concerning some of the residents of Langata who are not living within Langata. They are living in places which are called diaspora. Even Kenya, as a whole, we have our people in diaspora, and they are being recognized. We have people who are, they are the resident of Langata, but they are not living in Langata. They work in Langata, they do everything in Langata, but because they could not manage rent in Langata, they have decided to reside in the neighboring county like Kajiado. We have people in Gataka, we have people in Ebolbol. I want this, our aspirant, to tell us, how are you going to help these people? Remember, that is another county. You cannot build the roads, you cannot build the schools, you cannot build the toilets. And these people are the people making the larger majority of voters in Karen. How are you going to assist them? Thank you.
Thank you. Testing, microphone. Testing. Okay. That question is very clear. We have powerful land grabbers. How will you help us fight these powerful land grabbers? Number two, we have diaspora. I will be listening carefully. We have diaspora, they have come there in Langata, but they don't belong to Langata. Is that good words to use? They don't, and I say not in a bad way, but they are not, the way I think the right words is, they are not resident in Langata. How will you help them to be part of the solutions that you're offering for Langata? Is that correct? Thank you. Aya. Now, that was a gentleman, and thank you for representing us. Very good. I'm looking for anyone who is representing or someone living with disability. Anyone? You may not be the...
My name is Lamek Owesi. I'm a resident of Karen. As part of the solution that was mentioned to to take care of people with disabilities, I had buildings being mentioned. I'm an architect by profession, and most of the time when we say we're including people with disabilities in buildings essentially, most of the time we talk about people with wheelchairs, and all we see is inclusion of ramps and lifts. But I would like to know, people with disabilities are wide. We have the blind, we have the deaf blind. How are we going to include these people also in our, especially public buildings?
Thank you. Very clear. Not only wheelchairs, can you also tell us who are the other people with disabilities so that we know you actually know what we are talking about? All right? Anyone else in that disability area? Okay. Going once, going twice, it's gone. I want now to look for people who are in business. If you are a lady, it doesn't matter the age category here. If you're a lady and you're in business and you have a question for your member of parliament or member of National Assembly. Yes, I'm looking at the two ladies here. You're not in business? Okay, very good. Anyone in business? Going once, twice, ladies, none. Any men in business who are here? And remember, you may represent also. You might not be there, but you are representing. All right? No one in business today. So now, we enter into the category that I know is most. This is the youth. Yes, I knew these hands will shoot up. I have seen you, sir. Yes, get a microphone. There is one, it's coming here. Okay, I can see others. That one is quite clear. So start there. Yeah?
Thank you so much. My name is Edwin. Yeah. I'm a resident of South Sea. Yeah. And it's actually good to get the insights, especially... You can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Edwin. I'm a resident of South Sea. And I think it's very encouraging to just hear the concepts around public spaces. But my concern would be on public schools. Yeah. And it's in Langata that we first witnessed the case about the Langata Road Primary School. Yeah. My question goes to those vying for the MNA position. Mm-hmm. What key thing are you going to prioritize in the CDF, the National Government Constituency Development Fund, to ensure that at least those schools that already have the title deeds are protected? And this is actually regarding the case on adopting a fence campaign, whereby that pillar is fenced. Then secondly, still around the Constituency Development Fund, what integrity issues, what transparency priorities are you giving in such a way that the allocation of CDF is actually done in a very transparent manner, not that is opaque, and to ensure that there's equity in allocation of the CDF. Then one last one, on the issue about debt. You being in the National Assembly, you're going to play an oversight role. Right now, there's the ballooning issues about debt. As Langata 1, let me not use Langata 1 because I think there's a candidate who uses 001. For, as the Langata member of National Assembly, what key thing are you going to do to ensure that you play your oversight role, so that the issue about debt actually boils down? Because right now, public debt repayment has overseeded public expenditure. What key thing are you going to do? It might maybe seem as a drop in the ocean out of the 290 and the 349 members of parliament, but you might maybe do an influence. So what I need to know, that one thing that you're going to play. Thank you.
Thank you. Starting from the last, what you'll do in terms of accountability in CDF. There was also the question of, can we have all the titles? He didn't say that, but given the question, can we have all the titles of all the schools secured, isn't it? And then there was the third one I've forgotten. What was the third one? Transparency within CDF. Very good. Oh yes, that was the one on debt. Okay, very good. And we have rapporteurs who are capturing them, so we'll also remind you. Okay. Yes, question.
Okay, thank you guys for this opportunity.
Yes.
Okay, by name I'm called Kevin Ochieng Odhiambo. I'm a resident of Langata. I stay at High Rise Ward. Yeah. Now I have 4 questions to put across. Number 1.
4 questions?
Yeah, number
okay.
1.
Please ask them as a question, yeah?
Okay.
Yes, you know.
Number 1, I want to address our leaders. Yes. Number 1, there's a problem, water shortage in Langata, the major problem in Langata. Mm-hmm. In High Rise, we go, at times residents go without water for even a week or 2 weeks.
Okay.
You see, I stay in a slum, Silanga area, where at times residents buy water at 20 shillings to 30 shillings per jerrycan. This is informal settlement. You know, getting that money is not easy.
Very good.
How will you help this situation? It's not only in High Rise, but in entire constituency. Number 2.
Ask the question. I'm not harassing you. I just want you to
my question is, how are you guys going to help us in this situation to sort out this water problem issue?
Very good.
Number 2. I stay in High Rise where we only have one public school, Joash Olum Primary School. Yes. There's no any other public school, no high school in High Rise. My question is, how are you guys going to help us? Remember, this is a place where we have a population of over 40,000 residents staying in that area. We only have one public school. How are you going to help us in this situation so that our kids may not go this far to look for schools where they can study? Number 3.
Question 2.
That was question 2. Number 3. We have this project called Funeral in Langata. It is called, is another project at Ozin own. My question is, are you guys going to help us in this funeral problem? Because in High Rise, this is an informal settlement.
What is the problem? What is so that they understand?
Yeah. This place where people die in daily basis. These guys, they ask for viongozi tusaidieni na pesa mchango. WhatsApp groups all over. Every day WhatsApp group mchango. We are even, our pockets are running off. We don't have that money to shindikiza them ushago all the time.
So the question goes to who? To you, the resident of High Rise, kuchanga saa yote, ama
to our leaders. How are they going to help us?
Yes.
Because remember, this in High Rise, we only have one times. These guys go through hell.
Yes.
How these leaders going to help us sort out this issue? Because I see in other constituencies where the CDF, they have a vehicle. They purchase a vehicle where when they have a problem, they used to sort out this issue. The last question.
Before you go, so we help each other. Unajua tuko timu moja. So he is asking, tumekuwa na shida nyingi sana. Mtatusaidia vipi? Hii mambo ya kuchanga tumechoka. Very good. Number 4.
The last question.
Yes.
Youth and the drugs.
Youth and drugs.
Yeah, youth and drugs. Yes. We have a very big problem. Insecurity is rising up day in, day out. Majority are the youths. Who is going to help us sort out this issue? This because we have these chemistries within our areas selling these drugs to our youths. Remember, even the security organs know these things. They are doing nothing about it.
Yes.
There's no any rehabilitation center in Langata.
Okay.
How are you guys going to help our youth to keep off from drugs and to help us get security?
Good.
Thank you.
You have done very well. Thank you. Those are 4 questions. We have one gentleman whose hand was very tall. Yes, please. Yeah.
My name is Jeremy. I'm a resident of Langata, Mugumoini. I've lived in Langata for more than 30 years, let me say that. So my question, and as I hold this mic, I want to be very careful not to ask questions that are beyond what our members of parliament are going to do.
Thank you.
But mine is a concern about the Nairobi Dam. I'm a leader of youth group that transitioned to become a community-based organization. And we were involved in like 2 attempts to try and revive the Nairobi Dam. One was by JICA and the Office of the Prime Minister. And the second attempt was during Kidero's regime. But all those attempts were futile. Nothing came out of it. But there were very good plans to revive the Nairobi. I know it's a very controversial issue also because of the houses that have encroached. But I just wanted to know if there are any plans from the members of parliament who are coming in to address that issue. Because we can use it to collect a lot of water and solve some of these issues people are complaining about. The second one is just about non-motorized transport. And also, can we like organize paths for people like to jog in the morning? Because I've seen residents of Langata try to work out in the morning and jogging, but most of the footpaths have been taken over by some projects that have rendered those paths unusable. And also just to know what plans they have in conjunction with the county government that is coming in to have non-motorized public transport around Langata.
Thank you so much for asking those questions. And I just want to contribute to you and strengthen. And I think you asked about the dam. First question is to ask them, is the dam ours as the residents and as citizens? It was a public utility. Yes. It's public, but it seems like it is not ours. So is it ours? And then can we rehabilitate it? The other one, I am a victim of exactly what you're saying. I stopped jogging because there's nowhere to jog. Yes. So let's take those ones because I see there are no hands. Now the hands have come up again. We'll take them and then we'll divide them into batches. Okay. Is that okay? Okay. So there's your hand there. Yes. And please say which category you represent, because at least you I know. I don't know if you're in the youth below. Very good.
Today I'm wearing the cap of a Langata resident.
Yes.
My name is Alan. Yeah. I was born in Nairobi, in Langata, born and raised. Yeah. And I have a few, just 2. I'll be very fast. Chapter 6 of the Constitution. Yes. Chapter 6 of the Kenyan Constitution has been violated, like blood violates a white t-shirt. We have people in office, we have people who have been cleared to run for office, who have violated Chapter 6, leadership and integrity of our Constitution, the supreme law of the land. I want my brothers and sister to tell us today, what role does Parliament play in ensuring Chapter 6 is followed, not only the letter, but the spirit? That's 1. 2 is oversight. The current Parliament has been an appendage of the executive. Again, I go back to the Constitution. The Constitution clearly separates powers between the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. Today in Kenya, those 3 bodies seem to be one. And I address you guys as people aspiring. I wish the incumbent was here. The current Parliament is an appendage of the executive. How are you going to fight back the executive when you're being offered 10,000 shillings in the washroom in Parliament to pass an unpopular law? We have seen those scandalous laws that have been rammed through Parliament that are oppressive to the citizens of this country. That's oversight. And an appendage to oversight, the dam belongs to the county government of Kenya. The reason my brother there cannot proceed is because Parliament will not play their role of oversight. The government agency that is supposed to be oversighted to ensure that Nairobi Dam is reclaimed and it is no longer a sewer is called NEMA, National Environmental Agency. I want the aspirants here, if you win, please promise that gentleman that you will bring NEMA to Parliament through the Environmental Committee in Parliament and ensure that they rehabilitate that dam. It is a danger to so many people because the wall of the dam is going to collapse.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I will only take 2 more, and I can, there are 3. I will take the last 3, and they're all men. This is the first time I have seen a place where men have overshadowed the women. Okay. Please, sir, please ask a question because we need to hear the answers, isn't it? So ask a question, what or why or when, so that we save a bit on time, so that you get a feedback.
Okay, habari zenyu.
Mzuri.
Yangu ni ya kwamba in Langata tuko na university, tuko na colleges, but we don't have a TVET. We don't have a TVET. Enye tuko na hapa hivi ni St. Charles Luanga peke yake, na hiyo haitoshi. So mbunge mtarajiwa, unapanga aje kufungua TVET ama vocation tusaidie vijana wetu, because vijana wanapotea in drugs, wanapotea kwa theft, hakuna kitu kufanya. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. What's your name, sir, and from where? We forgot to say where we come from. Yeah.
I'm Lorian Awino.
Langata. Yeah.
Mgumoini.
Thank you so much. We need a TVET. Hata kama hatufai kuwauliza vitu zote kama wanabunge, tunataka TVET. Hiyo ndio swali. All right? Aya, katikati there was somebody, we are coming. We'll come there. Yeah.
Habari zenu. Kwa majina naitwa Albert. I'm from Lenana, Ngong Forest Polling Station, Karen Ward.
Thank you.
My question goes to the aspiring MPs. On the other side of Lenana is like Ngong Forest Primary School ni kama iko neglected. Unapata tuko kwa border ya Dagoretti South and Ngando Ward. There is no any public primary school. So the school is densely populated with very few classrooms. And this is a problem that is endangering our children, which are also from the informal settlement from the Lenana and Ngando area. So wale wenye wana aspire kama kuwa MP, watatusaidiaje hii kutatua hii shida, kwa sababu ni kitu yenye imekuwa. Because the school ni kama ndiko kwa border, the farthest end. Hata waonekani sisi zingine kukuja huko kuiona, but naomba wenye watakuwa mtuambie hiyo shida mtatatua namna gani. Asanteni.
Asante. Thank you so much. Second to last. Yes.
Hi everyone. My name is Willie. Today I'm wearing a different cap. Today I'm a Langata resident. My query will go on a national discussion that has been happening. It started with the late MP for Kibra, Ken Okoth. It's with regards to marijuana and the legalization of it. So my query will be to the aspirants, what's your position? Especially on incarceration of the people who've been found with it, people who are spending time in prison. Is it that your position that if you go in and it's passed as a law that it's a legal substance, how well can those people be released? Because I know of so many families that have suffered because of that, where people, and it's on privilege. If you, I know of people who, quote unquote, they use marijuana as a recreational, and they use it knowing that they can always get away with it. If they're found, they can bribe themselves out of it. And I know instances of people who, even if they use it, they cannot get away with it because the bribe price is a bit high. So that's my query to the aspirant.
Okay. Did we get that one? Yes. Thank you. I was processing. I didn't get it myself as your MC. And the reason I didn't get it is I was also wondering whether we should be asking them, will you be supporting the marijuana bill? But that's the MC's question. Don't worry about it. Let's go first to the members on there. Yes, last one. It was you? Yes, yes. Yeah. Okay.
Good afternoon to everyone. I'm Derek. I was born in Langata when Otiende used to be Otiende.
When Otiende used to be Otiende. I like repeating some things that they say. Yes.
So my question, I've had, first of all, I'm happy that I see it's a lot of youths who are passionate and innovative. But I see them asking for schools, for better resources, but they forget one aspect, business.
Yes.
So as incoming MPs, as you set aside TVET facilities and resources, why not ask for public land whereby you can encourage carpenters to have a center, a professional center, welders and artisans, where people can come and purchase their products instead of having them by the roadside?
Thank you.
And then the second is more of a request rather than a question. If any one of you wins, will you work with your constituents and your other aspirants as compared to what we've seen in the past? You go into parliament, you're looking for your member of parliament to share solutions, and they are missing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. I'll start with the last one. Mkishaingia, mnapotea. Today you smile with us, then when we need you, mtenja hapatikani. And then these people have solutions, and they also have ideas. How will you work with us so that we can share those ideas with all of you? Of course, the other one is close to the TVET one, but I think the angle he has also brought is very important. And it includes the work of the MCA of creating markets for us, but for you, can you put registration on our behalf that we have it? Not that it is maybe tunajaribu. I think that's what he is also asking. So now what we'll do, those were the last, yes? They were the last ones, eh? So we want to get the questions all compiled together and then see how they'll be responded to. Yeah. 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 Very good. Remember, we work as a team, and it's important we also don't put an unfair questions onto you. So we will have our moderation team clarify what your role is. And that question which is not part of you, we shall be able to be told by the moderators how you can answer it, but we know it's not part of their role. But for your role, we will be told now exactly what it is. Same thing for you. In case you hear they have not answered, and after the clarification, the moderators will clarify, and then I hope you'll also give us an opportunity to find the answer somewhere so that we answer the questions, but be aware that it's not belonging to that particular role. Karibu.
Thank you very much. And I know we've been sitting for long. Maybe we can stretch a bit. Just stand. If you can, just stand where you are. Stretch a bit so that when we go into the next round, and even as we are standing, allow me to explain something very brief. Under the Constitution, between the national government and the county government, there are functions. We know that, isn't it? And we know there are some functions for the national and there are some functions for the county, right? So as a member of the National Assembly, there are some functions that fall on the county that have been raised here. So as the member of the aspirant is answering, they need to be clear so that they don't confuse us, so that they don't promise us to do something that is not in under their responsibility. The other thing under the devolved governments, the National Assembly creates national policy, and it creates national laws. Those ones govern the county. So even if a function belongs to the county, there is a policy role of the member of the National Assembly. Sometimes it's a bit complicated, But it's important when the member of the aspirant is answering to be clear. For instance, the issue of drugs. Drug control is a function of the counties, but the policy and the national legislation is created by the member of the National Assembly. So the member of the National Assembly, siku hizi hawaitwi MP, ni member of the National Assembly. Tutakuja kuzoea MNA. It's not as nice as MP, because MP includes the senator. They are all members of parliament. But as they are answering, they just need to be clear what they'll do. The last question I'll ask, maybe two last ones. A favor, as the aspirants answer, please go to the point. Don't hide with, like, yeah, this is the problem. No, tell us, what will you do? Nitaenda, nitatunga sheria, or there is a law, or I'll investigate. Be clear, so you can be held accountable. But ukitupatia story ndefu, will come out here with a wish and not knowing what you want to do. Then there is a question that was asked about debt, and there is a question that was asked about members of the National Assembly taking bribes in the toilets. I want to link it to the issue of cost of living. The cost of living has gone very high. What is your position on the issue of cost of living? How will you help the residents of Nairobi, of Langata, on cost of living? Because the finance bill, taxation, is a responsibility of the member of the National Assembly. And how will you ensure that you are passing laws that are not coming to create more pressure on the residents of Langata? So I hope I have assisted. I just wanted to clarify. Thank you. Oh, please sit.
It's on? Oh, okay. We have, also, we want also our incoming members of National Assembly to know that this particular forum is working hand in hand with young people. So we are working together so that we build their capacity. We are in transition, and so are you. So the questions that you have been raised for you shall now not be read by any of us. It shall be the young people who have been taking the questions, and they're the ones who will be calling out the questions. The moderators will guide us as to who should be able to answer the question. So you'll be asked the question, they'll repeat, and then the moderator will guide us as to whom should respond to that question and as to how. So I want to get a microphone. Where's the mic? Thank you. And so it starts from question number 1, and they will tell us which question it is. And in case we have not answered your question, you let us know. Yes? So? Oh, yes. He needs to step out a bit. Very good. We give you a minute. We can wait, eh? Yes, because he probably might need to hear the question. Meanwhile, civic education team. Yes? It's your floor for the 1 minute. Yes. It's, yeah? Huh?
I'm meant to read it.
The civic education?
No,
you had something?
No.
Yes.
We're not the civic education, we're just live streaming.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. It's all right. Then it's okay. Let them take a break. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Actually, that could be a natural call. We may give you a 3 minutes break, so that you may be able to. All right. I see a new person who has arrived. You know, I've been looking around, wondering whether it was my eyesight. Yes. Karibu. Okay. Very well. So you guys can take a break. Yeah. And those diaries that are there and the pens are yours, courtesy of the institution, so that you write adequate answers to us. Welcome, Tom. Very good. All right. Civic education.
Excuse me.
You know, we had a space.
Yeah?
We had a space in the program, but you rescheduled.
Yeah,
reshuffled it. So
yeah.
when are you coming?
You see, we decided because of how long we took starting that we need to amend on the floor. So when we get a break like this, would have been nice if it was prepared. That's what I was telling Florence that day. Okay. Yeah, but now we'd have to. They had something to present. This case, 10 minutes now. Where to slot them? But I'd warned them to be.
Full 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's the thing. No, we can reduce it to 10, even 5.
Maybe reduce to.
Yes, that's why I was telling Florence to be prepared. You can see now because of the hour. Yeah. So when you prepare, you have to prepare that if you're like now, I would have done my civic education myself now. I would have actually done it.
Are they ready now?
No. Yes, they're not ready. Yeah? No. They will as they come. Yes, as they come. Yes. They will, and you don't need everybody, sister. You need to always capture the opportunity of the ones who, yeah.
Because they're coming back,
yes.
so they will find it.
And these other ones now, because they're waiting, they would have been listening to something. They would be receptive.
There are very few, not so many out there.
Yeah.
I think we should do it.
Yeah. Yes,
Also
that's
for the
why I told her, so that it's also a break as they
To our honorable candidates, thanks a lot for engaging so well. We are hopeful. The future is bright. There is a hope for us as we look forward to the upcoming elections. And I like, you know, the energy in the room and the desire to be instruments of peace. And that has been displayed by signing, you know, that commitment to uphold peace. Now, at the course of our conversation, one key thing that came out and very striking for me is chapter 6 of the Constitutions. And one of us said, I think from this side, leadership and integrity. Leadership and integrity. One of our gurus of leadership, John Maxwell, says everything rises and falls on leadership. And I just want to take this opportunity to share with us some of the programs that we do as the Leaders Guild, being one of the programs here at Tangaza University College. Leadership is our focus area. The Leaders Guild is a leadership development program under the Center for Leadership and Management. We are an alumni and associate association, and we engage in leadership development activities, lifelong learning. We all know that there is no point in time that anyone will come out and say, I have arrived. We are all learning, and so learning is a lifelong process. So we were founded in 2013. Officially, it was inaugurated, and we collaborate with many people. Just as you can see at this event, we partner a lot to be able to carry out these activities that we do. I just want to cut a lot of things, a lot of stories to go to the point. Now, when we were being founded, we all know this guru here. Sorry, our candidates are not able to see the screen, but on the screen we have Nelson Mandela, who on his 90th birthday says it is time for new hands to lift the burdens of our society. It is in your hands. It is in my hands. And I guess these are people who have the interest of Langata at heart. And that is why we have come together to see how we can dialogue to lift the burden of our society. And TLG seeks to be the go-to place for leadership development program. I had talked about lifelong learning as a continuous process. So, for leadership development program, even as our leaders look forward to the upcoming elections, there will be moments for refresher courses. We are there for you, and we seek to hold hands together to bring about the positive transformation that we desire to see in our society. Our vision is positively impacting society. And how do we do that? We do that by developing, our mission, of course, is developing holistic and competent servant leaders who positively impact their organizations. Now our services are just run through our services, and we facilitate professional and personal growth and learning offerings, leadership trainings and workshops, proposal writing workshops and competitions. Very soon, our participants will be handing in their proposals. So we vet and give them feedback for improvement, and we fund very little projects as a way of impacting the society. And we do coaching. As you can see on one of our banners, we have coaching, mentoring, workshops, trainings. We do that. We have annual leadership conferences. We had one 2 weeks ago for the youth and for the sisters as well. We also target leaders and managers across different sectors of the society. So we equip and empower our leaders within different spheres of influence to continually take appropriate action leading to positive transformation in the society. And of course, we have two arms, the alumni as well as the associates. So it is our pleasure to once again welcome you to Tangaza. Feel free to subscribe to our services. And may God continue to bless us as we seek to impact the society positively. All the best to our candidates. Thank you.
Thank you. We did not get to know where you went to university except Daystar for one, so we might presume you all went to Daystar, and one went to the US, but in Daystar in the US. You said? Oh, multimedia. So the rest went to multimedia and Daystar, all right? I'm just throwing that out there so that when you come on, you'll know where to fix where you went. All right. Here is the team, and over to you. Questions now that were fielded from the floor.
The first question was, we are handling problems of today, but how are we planning to, how are you, our leaders, planning to solve the problems that shall come tomorrow? In other terms, I feel like our dearest mother, who's the eldest of us all, was asking, in solving the problems you're solving today, how can we tackle some other issues so that we prevent the problems that may arise from them tomorrow?
Okay. This first question you're going to answer, we'll start from Cliff, but just repeat the question. Be specific so that they get it and they answer it. And it's going to be 1 minute per candidate. Repeat the question, only the question. Question number 1.
The question is, in solving the problems today, how are we going to prevent the issues, or rather solve the problems of the future, or prepare ourselves or brace ourselves for the problems to come?
Okay, thank you.
You got it?
I got it, yes.
You got it.
Yeah. So, what's your name?
Mungai.
Mungai. I believe what is happening right now and what we are supposed to solve right now is the issue of patch-ups, and that is what she was talking about, Band-Aids. But this can only be done collaboratively, because what we are seeing are Band-Aids. I will give an example of what I was talking about when I was meeting 1 or 2 people around. We see a person putting a kiosk for you on the roadside. And then you're saying, I'm in Saidia, I'm in a kiosk kappa. That's a Band-Aid. Now, what do we do about that? We have to have infrastructure within our constituency where our youth, our unemployed, be it you're 50, you're 40, where there's a portal where you're registering your status as being employed or unemployed.
Cliff,
and
your 1 minute is up.
Could you add
I just need to remind,
10 seconds?
Because of the high number of questions, 1 minute and give the answer. If you describe the problem, your time is going. We'll have to get the next candidate.
Thank you. 10 seconds?
No.
All right.
Thank you.
Sir.
Is the question clear?
How are you going to brace yourself, or rather, how are you going to brace us as the Langata for the problems to come, instead of just patching up the issues of today?
Thank you, Mungai, for that question. What I can say is that the future is always uncertain. What we can do best is deal with the current problems that we have as a people. And then, in the process, we are able now to look at the longevity of these solutions. How far are they going to take us? That is the only way we are able now to curb any uncertainties that are to crop up in the future. The future is always uncertain. Who would have thought that Kenya, after 50 years, people will be having problems of unemployment? Who would have thought that in Langata right now we would still be having water problems? Who would have thought that we'd be talking about land grabbing and all that? So we have to come up with solutions to curb the problems that are already at hand, the water issues, the unemployment issues, and then with the solutions that we're going to come up with, let us look at the longevity of it. That is the only way we are able to solve whatever is to come in the future. That's all I can say.
Okay, thank you.
I still have minutes.
No, time is up.
Thank you, Mungai, again. When Mom spoke at that end, she was referring mostly to land issues that are being grabbed, and also the water issues and everything. Number one, we have